Gwydion.
Very clever. It's good to be back. This is Chicken Philosophy. Are we seriously doing this with the social media links? Is this a reaction channel or what? This is Chicken Philosophy, Meccan Revelations, episode 21, my lucky number. And special thanks to Vanilla Ice, of course, for that intro ditty. And for this gal...
My name is Mara Starling.
For the authentic Welsh pronunciation of my name.
Gwydion.
Yeah, so as has been canonically established here on Chicken Philosophy as well as the Gwydion's Astro Podcast, the Coffee House, both, every minute here on Earth is 1 hour for me back in the pyramid, which is where I go when this hat is removed. So... when the upshot of that is when Edward goes on a 3 weeks vacation. For me, it's more like 3 years. 3 years hanging out in the New World Order pyramid with old Prescott and Bush Sr., you know.
A New World Order.
Hey, get back in the pyramid. Anyway, is there anything else? No, not really. Just that it's, speaking of vanilla, 3 episodes in a row of my doppelganger, Edward. Don't forget, I'm 6 years old, his senior. I helped co-create that guy so that we could try to have a normal life. I mean, it wasn't really the goal, more of a means to an end. And I like the abnormal life that normal persona has allowed us to manifest and helped. All right. Well, anyway, today we're going to be continuing with part 4 out of, God knows, 150 different things about the helpers of the Mahdi. So we're going to make the best of it. And, oh, by the way, while he was in Shillong, part of the view from the balcony at Dewdrop Inn. See what they did there? It's DEW space DROP space IN. You'd expect 2 N's, but no. They want to emphasize that it's a pun. The highest form of art. Anyway, so from there we were able to see this green mosque. It's India's first glass mosque. So, there's that. All right. I'll go ahead and get to the reading. And I think there's already music playing, right? Yeah, probably. Yeah. Let's get to the reading. 6A. Remember 6, the general overview? And now we're on 6A. What was 6? No, 5. Oh, okay. So 6 is divided already into 6A. I'm used to like what Teilhard de Chardin does, as he says, okay, section 3, blah, 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 A, or whatever, part 1 of part 3, So we're starting part 6 with 6A. It's very 6A, if you know what I'm saying. Like sexy, but sick at the same time. Sick and sexy. All right. 6A, as for, quote, the forms of bracket parentheses, spiritual and bracket parentheses. Oh, I missed the bracket parentheses. Sustenance needed by the ruler, the Mahdi. Paul Mahdi, right? Got that in mind. Kyle MacLachlan. This, bracket parentheses, requires, and bracket parentheses, that he knows the kinds of worlds which are only two, i.e., by, quote, world, end quote, I mean the worlds in which this imam's influence is effective, which are the world of bracket parentheses physical and bracket parentheses forms, and the world of the souls governing those forms with regard to their physical movements and activities. As for what is beyond those two kinds, bracket parentheses, i.e., the worlds of the angelic spirits and the jinn, that was worth it, right? Yes. Yes is the answer. And you know that for sure. Yes is surrender. You have to let it. You have to let it go. So keep on playing those mind games. John Lennon solo. Anyway, okay, where were we? He has no influence over them except for those such as bracket parentheses individuals in the world of the jinn who wish for him to have influence over their souls. If you'd like to learn more about the jinn, check out Frater BT's interview with Very Honored Frater Ka. Let me put that another way. Check out Very Honored Frater BT's interview with Very Honored Frater Ka. There we go. But as for the luminous world, bracket parentheses, of the angelic spirits, and bracket parentheses, they are beyond this mortal human world's having any authority over them, for each individual among them has a known station, bracket parentheses, Quran 37:163. I'm going to go ahead and disagree with you there, Quran. I'd say in the Golden Dawn system of magic, a man or woman, gender neutral man, a human, having been made in the image of the Elohim, has the authority to command the angels, as long as they do it in the name of the divine and are initiated and stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead and give you a little check mark there, Mr. Arabi. That was wrong, what you said. No, it's a different paradigm. We're trying to open our minds here and be able to have in one hand the Chinese Taoist alchemy, and in the other the Catholicism, and in the other the Protestantism, and in the other the Meccan Revelations, and then right when we're about to snap and go mad, we bring in the Jung, and then it all kind of jams into geomantic harmony. If you know what I'm quoting, you're pretty cool. All right. Sorry, I'll stick to the heresy. Determined for him by his Lord, so that he does not descend, bracket parentheses, to this earth, and bracket parentheses, except with the permission of his Lord. Right, okay. This is like more exoteric than exoteric Christianity, isn't it? So there's like Teilhard de Chardin talking about, you, God, are a greater myself, and I surrender myself into you so that I might be you. And this is like, you're a piece of shit. The only reason you're allowed to be a piece of shit is because the unfathomable, unknowable highest that we cannot... No, I should be. I'm being silly. What I mean to say is, having been given a personal human form, the God of the Abrahamic traditions becomes more immediate and relatable to the Christian than it does for the other Abrahamic traditions. Perhaps. Not judging one way or the other. Christianity is probably way off in doing that by paganizing the least pagan thing that being Judaism and Islam, right? Because they're the ones that define the rest of the world as being infidel or Gentile or Goyim, or, as the Christians call it, pagan. As the old Romans called the rednecks, the hillbillies, the people who don't live in the city, pagan. Oh, they're pagan. Look at them not going to the vomitorium. I know it just means exit, but it's funny to imagine people going after their orgy and their buffet. Where were we? Okay, so, no disrespect intended in the direction of anybody who might harm me. But plenty of disrespect intended, everywhere else. You can see how I'm very relaxed about being disrespectful to the people who it's popular to be disrespectful toward, and a little more reserved about being disrespectful to people with a reputation of retaliation.
Anyway, yes, we're all due respect.
Right? Sorry for the Italian-American stereotype accent. I'm sorry. Please don't
put a hit out on me.
Dawn. Whoever's the Dawn these days, I don't know. I haven't been keeping up. I stopped watching after Godfather 3. I never saw the Martin Scorsese version.
Never mind.
I'm sorry.
I'll keep talking. Thus, whoever wants one of them to be sent down to him must turn to his Lord.
Okay. Yes. Okay. All right. Now, okay, we're back in sync, because you can't just say, "Hey, Raphael, get over here." You have to say, "In the divine name of your name." Raphael, get over here. And then he's like, "Yes, God." And then you're like, "That's me." And then you don't get into the promised land because you took credit for something you didn't do. But Joshua gets in.
Never mind.
Just forget everything I'm saying. I'm just being silly.
All right.
If you've seen this from the beginning, by the way, start at the beginning, if you want.
Okay, where was I? Yes. Praying for that and his Lord, bracket parentheses, may, end bracket parentheses, order, bracket parentheses, that angel, end bracket parentheses, and give his permission to do that, in compliance with that person's request, or he may send down an angel
of his own accord. Fair enough. Sounds a little like the Arbatel.
Right. As for the, quote, travelers, end quote, among the angels, their station is known, bracket parentheses, Quran 37:163, end bracket parentheses, since they are constantly traveling around seeking the sessions of dhikr.
DHIKR.
Oh, there's a footnote. Oh, good. But where is it? I don't know. On some other page. Okay.
There's a footnote, so you know.
So, quote, when they find the people of dhikr, end quote, who are the people of the Quran. It all makes sense now. Those who are, bracket parentheses, truly, end bracket parentheses, recalling the Quran, they do not give precedence to anyone from the sessions of dhikr of those who are recalling, bracket parentheses, something, and bracket parentheses, other than the Quran. But if they do not find people recalling the Quran, and they do find people recalling God, not just reciting, then they come to sit with them, and, quote, they call out to each other, quote within quotes, come quickly to what you all desire, end quote within quotes, end quote. So if you're quoting the Quran, it's like, okay, acceptable. But if you're speaking directly from God, and not quoting the Quran, but speaking directly from God, then these folks are interested. Which, of course,
is subjective. I mean, I tend to think of like a hippie on acid in the desert going, man, it's all one, man. You just gotta wake up, man. You know, it's like the Buddha said, and everybody's like, yeah, man, you're speaking from the mouth of God. Where someone else might be like, this world has become an offense to the judge, and so he shall smite them with the 4 horsemen on the 3rd of June of 1826. And someone else of a different disposition might be like, this guy, this, he's speaking straight out of the Word of God. That's not in the Quran at all, but obviously it's the speaking straight out of the mouth of God. So what I'm saying is, I think that it could be open to interpretation, but I think the people of the Dicker, they would know, because they're the ones who are prophesied by someone, perhaps the Quran, or whatever, as clarified by Ibn Arabi. They're the helpers of the Mahdi, are they? I think, because we're still talking about the helpers of the Mahdi. So, Kyle MacLachlan, hippies on acid, 19th century apocalypse nuts, and you. I think we've found the tagline for this episode.
All right. Or something. Maybe. I don't know. Yes. Because that, bracket parentheses, remembrance of God, and bracket parentheses, is their sustenance. Through it they flourish, and in it they have their life. Okay. Now, since the Imam knows that, he always keeps a group of people reciting the signs of God throughout the night. Bracket, regular parentheses, Quran
3:113, and bracket parentheses, chapter 3, and they're already talking about the end of the world. Gosh, the Bible doesn't get to that until much later. Chapter 3.
Okay.
Chapter 3, the Bible's still like, and then he put snow on the mountains. And Adam said, what's that? It's cold, like.
Okay. Not an exact quote, but, general. Okie dokie. Now, since the Imam knows that, wait, we read that already. And the day, to finish the sentence. Who cares what the rest of it? No, yeah. And we ourselves, when we were in Fez. Who's we? You got a mouse in your pocket? Oh, wait, no, he traveled from Spain to Damascus, and I think he's using a little bit of a royal we. Okay. In the lands of Maghreb, G-H Maghreb, used to follow this practice. Which practice is that? Thanks to the agreement of companions favored by God, who listened to us and readily followed our counsel. But when we no longer had them, bracket parentheses, with us, and bracket parentheses, we thereby lost this pure, bracket parentheses, spiritual, and bracket parentheses, work, which is the noblest and most sublime of the forms of bracket parentheses, spiritual, and bracket parentheses, sustenance. So when we no longer had bracket parentheses, companions, like those men, we began to take up the diffusion of knowledge because of those, bracket parentheses, angelic, and bracket parentheses, spirits, whose food is, bracket parentheses, spiritual, and bracket parentheses, knowledge. Because, what? And we saw that there was not a single thing we set forth that did not spring from this capital S source. Yes, now we're speaking my language. All right, so just sit with it. No toxicity allowed in the circle, right? Charge the crystals in the moonlight. And connect with Source. Speak your truth. And the helpers of the Mahdi will listen because they know the difference between the real Word of God and some bullshit rooted in some ancient Semitic tribal tradition, right? No, not at all. I'm being facetious, clearly, obviously. Yes, no, what, who? I don't know. That is sought by this spiritual kind, bracket parentheses, of angels, and bracket parentheses, which is the Quran. Hence, everything about which we speak, both in my bracket parentheses teaching and bracket parentheses sessions and in my writings, comes only from the presence of the Quran and its treasures. I was given the keys of its understanding and divine support from it. All of this so that we might not swerve from it. You have a bit in common with Martin Luther. It takes a special kind of person to openly state that they have been given the keys to interpret the Holy Scripture of their people. Ibn al-Arabi and Martin Luther are two such men. And David Koresh, and there are others that are of varying degrees of... For this is the loftiest, bracket parentheses, spiritual knowledge, and bracket parentheses, that can be bestowed on one, and no one can know its full worth except for the person who has actually tasted it in experience and directly witnessed its rank as a bracket parentheses, spiritual and bracket parentheses, state within himself, the person to whom the true one, capital T, capital O, has spoken it in his innermost being. For when it is the true one who speaks to his servant in his innermost being, after all the intermediaries have been lifted away, then the understanding is immediate and inseparable from his speaking to you. So that the, bracket parentheses, divine, and bracket parentheses, speaking itself is identical with your understanding of it. The understanding does not follow after it. And if it does come after it, then that is not God's speaking. Thus, whoever does not find this, bracket parentheses, immediate spiritual understanding within himself, and bracket parentheses, does not have, bracket parentheses, true and bracket parentheses, knowledge of God's speaking to his servants. All right, fair enough. I'm more than willing to accept that I fall in the category of not having, bracket parentheses, true and bracket parentheses, knowledge of the bracket parentheses. So take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt. Buy the book, read it on your own, get it unfiltered by my assiness. Couldn't think of another word. All right, if you want to. It's up to you. I don't know. All right, where were we? And if God should speak to him through the veil of a form, like Jesus, we've been over this, whether with the tongue of a prophet or whoever else in the world he may wish, then the understanding of that, bracket parentheses, divine and bracket parentheses, speech may accompany it, or it may come later. So this is the difference between the two, bracket parentheses, i.e. between direct divine inspiration and its mediated transmission. And bracket parentheses, the way I was raised, real men drive stick shift. None of this mediated transmission. I'm just joking. It's a problematic way of thinking. My dad was born in 1940, so he didn't get the memo. Never mind. Yeah, well, I hope nobody's upset by this episode, but I do feel better. It's exhausting having to walk around without the hat on, to be that person. It's nice to be for real every once in a while, you know what I'm saying? So, do feel free to like and subscribe to this reaction channel in which we react. This is part 21 of our reaction and review to Meccan Revelations. And, I sometimes, my approach
is if I watch a reaction and review channel, and let's say they're watching the 1984 Dune, and they're like, this is stupid, the new one's better, then I don't click thumbs down. I'm not that kind of person. I go back to the main menu and find where it suggests another video by that person. And I click the little 3 dots and I say, do not recommend this channel. So I suggest that you do the same if you did not enjoy this episode. But if you did, you know, why not drop a like? And don't forget the social medias. And do note it's Philosophus, Chicken Philosophus on Instagram, because Chicken Philosophy was taken. And Chicken Philosophy on Facebook. And next time on Chicken Philosophy, very honored Frater BT will be reading Carl Jung. And, you know, but if you're just watching the Meccan Revelation playlist, you probably won't see that, and I think it'll be Edward doing part 22 of Meccan Revelations. And is there anything left to say? You know, just have a good one, and happy whatever day it is for you. And okay, that's it for me, and I wish you a Merry Christmas.